Hello, I'm Ben Schrock, and joining me again with part two is Erin Carbone with Carbone Insurance Services. Erin, welcome back to the show.
Thanks, Ben.
Alrighty. So for those of you that missed part one, we spent a little bit of time getting to know Erin on a personal level on her background and really had her dive in deeper to Medicare. So if you have questions about that, or if you want to reference some of the good information that Erin provided about Medicare, please listen to part one. This one, we're going to kind of spin off and focus a little bit more about the businesswoman that Erin is and kind of how she runs her day-to-day operations and some of the good, the bad, the ugly of what it is to be a business owner. So, and that's kind of the goal of part of my podcast, Erin, just so you know, is as we've kind of expanded and there's only so much financial topics we can talk about. We can pop on at any time, but having the opportunity to sit down across the table from another business owner like myself is important and to kind of dive in deeper to get in the head of a business owner to see what really makes them tick and extract as much information out as possible. So hopefully it's not too painful, but we're going to give it a shot. So
sure, absolutely.
All righty. So again, we know how you got into the business and back when you were 17 and working while you're going to high school. When you kind of go from that point, take us forward into how it transitioned from, I believe it was MC Robinson, right?
Correct. To
Carbone Insurance. So talk to me a little bit about that and the process of you taking over the ownership of the firm.
Sure. So, like I said, I started when I was 17 and still in high school. And then after graduating from college, getting my license for life and health. And I ran that end of the business for the most part from that point forward. Mm-hmm. That was my responsibility. And then come about 2014, the current owner of MC Robinson suffered some health conditions, as did his wife. And we had talked maybe a year to two prior to that, about me eventually taking over the business. Yeah. But those medical conditions kind of pushed that forward for him. And then I purchased the agency the January 1st of 2016 is when it became official.
Okay.
So I kept the MC Robinson name for a while because the agency came into existence in the mid 80s. So it had quite a bit of longevity with it. And just wanted the customers to feel confident about the transition. And all of them knew me, of course, for being there for so long. But so I didn't change the name to Carbone Insurance until 2020.
Gotcha. And you talk about it so nonchalant. I just purchased the business. That's not a easy decision, right? No. You didn't just come home from work one day and say, "Hey, Vinny, I'm buying a business." So talk to me about those conversations. What led you to kind of muster up the strength to go through that and say, "I can buy this. I want to do this. It's going to cost me this." What was kind of going through your head during that time?
Yeah, so it's funny because, as you know, I'm super conservative.
Yeah.
Very conservative.
We're working on that.
Yeah. And when it's time if we have a car lease, we start looking a year prior because it takes us forever to make a decision. But when it came to purchasing the business, I'd done it for so long. I'd been raised in the business. I really knew nothing else. And it was second nature to me. And I was just so comfortable.
Gotcha.
That it just, it made so much sense. And Vinny had supported me all those years.
Sure.
And knew that that's where I was headed even when I didn't. So when it came down to it, there was really no question.
It was a no-brainer.
It was just time to do it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great. So you took over the business. How old were you when you bought the business?
I would have been, let's see, like 36.
36. Okay. Well, you have to tell us how old you are today. We don't ask those personal questions. But 36, and if you could rewind and go back in time, would you have? Did you ever feel yourself going in a different direction? Was it always, hey, this is my home? I feel good here. I do want to buy this business and run it, given an opportunity. Or did you feel kind of in a corner at a crossroads in your career to say, you know what, I think I can go do this on my own and maybe be a competitor against the current business owner? Yeah.
There was a point in time when I did think that way, of going out on my own but honestly, it was Vinny that said, just stay the course.
Yeah.
He really had the forethought and the vision of what it would be eventually, and he just kept encouraging me not to be hasty.
Gotcha.
And he was right.
Yeah.
I don't want him to hear that.
I was going to say, we got it recorded, so he's going to hear it one way or another. So, Vinny, you were right more than once, or that's the only time?
Maybe once.
And I asked that because I know in my personal life, the firm that I was with previous to this, I felt that I was at that point in time. Now, granted, I was 26 years old, and I always look back and say, it's our 10th year in business this year, so we're celebrating year 10. And I look back and thank you. It's pretty cool. And I try to go back 10 years and say, would I have, being my 26-year-old self, would I have actually done it again? And I don't know if I would say yes. It took a lot of guts, and I just felt that I was at a point in my life where that was my only decision. If I want to be in this business, that's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do it on my own. Right. And so, it kind of took me down that road, and it was the hardest conversation in my head was, and I'm sure you probably played it in your head, right? Talking to Vinny, mine was talking to Caitlin and saying, okay, how do I pitch this to she was my fiance at the time. How do I tell her that I'm going to start my own business a year before we're getting married, and what's she going to say? So that was my hardest sale of the whole bunch. But no, she had, she supported me every step of the way like Vinny did. So that's awesome. But I love those stories because I think it puts into place where you are and what you've done with the business. So, so day one ownership, what kind of, was it just like a normal day in the office for you guys, or was did it feel different, or any different ownership feel to it, or?
I don't think so. Yeah. Because I've been doing all of the same daily practices for years at that point. So, with the previous business owner being ill and just nearing retirement, he wasn't there a lot anyways. So it really didn't feel much different. Now, as fast forward maybe 2 years, it started to hit me that, wow, this is real.
This is it.
Yeah. This is a pretty big thing.
Yeah.
Even though maybe at the time I didn't realize how big it really was. So.
And there's no real playbook for business owners, right?
There's not at all. It's just do the best you can do on a daily.
Yeah. And especially when you're in, we're in similar roles where I'm an advisor for our practice and the business owner. You're, an advisor, an agent for your own business. So you're wearing multiple hats. Do you find it hard to navigate sometimes those multiple positions? And is it really, because there's never really been, you didn't have anyone in your family that was a business owner, right? They didn't say, here, Erin, do this, this, and this. It's kind of saying, figure it out, right?
Right. Yeah, I came from a long line of blue collar union workers. So they were pretty much the furthest thing from business owners,
right.
So no, it was just...
Figure it out. It's kind of a lonely world, isn't it?
It is.
There's points in times when you're sitting there saying, oh man, it's just me and who else out there. And fortunately, when you build a team and you get good staff around you, they're always there to support you.
That's very important.
But yeah, it can oftentimes be lonely. So,
right.
Now in, your world, like owning the business, I know more of a background since we've known each other for quite some time. So what you did in taking that leap of faith and buying the business and running your own, did that kind of inspire Vinny to do his own thing, do you think, or did it have a little bit to come into play with that?
Maybe a little bit, but honestly, I think he always had more of the entrepreneurial mind, more so than I did. He just was in more of the supporting role.
Gotcha.
He had the stable job with the insurance and the every 2-week paycheck that kept us going.
Sure.
And once I was established and settled in my business, I think that opened the door for him to go ahead and do what he'd always wanted to do.
Awesome.
So he'd owned businesses prior, actually.
Okay.
But this was his baby for sure.
Yeah.
This last one.
Yeah. And for those that don't know, it's a distillery business. So we should have had a third microphone, much more interesting than what we do. So,
much more.
Yeah. We could have talked to him for days about that kind of stuff. So, so kind of transition a little bit. I wrote here my notes, a little bit more of a difficult question. Now, do you ever feel like isolated in the sense that in your line of work, are you more of a male dominated area? I know in the financial services industry, it is more male dominated. I don't know. Is that in your world? Is it more male, female dominated?
It's changing.
Okay.
But definitely more male dominated.
Okay.
When I was younger, in my early 20s, I was always the youngest in the room, of course. And I was always the only female in the room.
Gotcha.
There's a lot of proving that I had to do.
Sure.
So.
And do you feel like there was ever, you were held to a different pedestal or a different degree because you're being young and a woman in the industry?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And how did you kind of claw your way out of that? Fight your way out of that?
Just, I think, sheer stubbornness and determination. Yeah. I wanted people to believe in me and respect me and rely on me.
Sure.
So I always felt like I had to do 20-30% more.
Go the extra mile
because you had to prove that you were worthy of that. And I just think that's made me better in the end.
Absolutely.
But definitely was there.
And I think it speaks volumes to the level of work that you do. And like you said, going the extra mile and proving that you're knowledgeable in there. And again, it's something that I can ever be, right? I'm not a female in your industry. I'm a male in mine. And it's a I don't want to say disadvantage, but it's a world that I'm not familiar to or familiar with because I'm not in it, and that's why it's important to know and hear people's perspectives. Because I don't think people quite understand the sacrifice and the fighting and what you had to do to get to where you are today. Right. It wasn't just handed over to you.
No, not at all.
So,
not at all. No.
And it's awesome. So now that was a hard question. That wasn't too bad, right?
No, I got that one.
Enjoyed that one.
Yeah.
Did you ever feel like, because again, when you hear in the media, sometimes they portray it as like I don't want to say as a woe is me, but have you ever felt that, saying I'm a woman business owner? I feel like it's pity or anything like that.
No.
Okay.
Actually, just the opposite. I'm pretty proud.
Good.
Yeah, pretty proud of it because I hear people saying the female repression, things like that. And obviously that's out there.
Sure.
And there's discrimination of all sorts, but I feel like and I'm proof that you can overcome it.
Absolutely.
So.
Well, and I think more people should pick your brain on how to do it. And they may not like the answer because it means you work your tail off, right? Yeah. And get through it and fight and fight and fight. But I think that more people need to ask you about that because I think you got a great story there and something that people need to hear. But so now it's more and more fun conversations outside of the tough question now. Okay. Right. So when it comes to owning a business, being a business owner, I guess what would be your biggest struggle so far in terms of running the business?
I would say probably my work to real life or family balance. It's super hard for me to disconnect. I take it with me everywhere I go. It's my second child, my second marriage, because I need to work on that, because it's with me always. Yeah. And it's, people say when you're self-employed, oh, you're so lucky you can have all the time off you want. You can go here and there. It's so flexible. And it's like, well, it is. That is a benefit of it. But, you can't take too much advantage of that either. Yeah. But they don't realize it's tied to you wherever you go.
Sure. Yeah. This little cell phone right here, this thing, that goes where you go.
Exactly.
And the unplugging part is difficult. Do you find yourself having to go somewhere to unplug? Like, is it somewhere in the world, in the country that you go to literally, I can just unplug and get away from it? Or is it still something to struggle with?
We try.
Yeah.
We try. We'll take rides in the country in the car, and just
no cell service. Perfect.
And, just get out and have some fresh air and yeah.
And it's awesome. I found myself, honestly, Erin, with being able to unplug like at home. It's weird because Caitlin, my spouse, works with me, so we'll naturally talk about work and the business at home. But man, when I go home, I'm done. I shut it down. I try not to even look at the emails or texts. Naturally, sometimes I do, but I really found a good point where I exit this door, I can unplug and get out, which is nice. But it is something that we struggle with. And I'm sure especially in your peak seasons, it's probably even more hard for you to disconnect.
Yes.
But have you guys tried like scheduled like quarterly vacations? I know we always have the grandiose plan. Every quarter we're going to take a vacation. I don't think we haven't accomplished that yet. So
we do one vacation a year, typically, to out of state. We'll do weekends here and there, but, honestly, with my son being in the sports season, that makes it even more difficult, because he's always got something going on. Yeah. So as older he gets, the more difficult it becomes, but we definitely do 1 week away every year, come hell or high water.
Yep. You're out.
And, Yeah.
And that's when you get to watch your son like wrestle, play football. Is that a moment in time where you're like, okay, all my focus and attention's on him. I don't care what's going on in the business world.
For sure.
That's cool.
Even though it's a big commitment, it's a lot of time spent. I love it. Yeah. I'll miss it immensely when it's gone one day. Yeah.
And our boys are only 4 and 2, so they're not there yet. But I can only imagine that's a great way to just focus on one thing and one thing only at that time. Yep. So tell me a little bit more about, so struggle wise, disconnecting and unplugging from the business, work-life balance. How about running a team, hiring, finding good employees? Tell me a little bit about your staff. I know through the time we've met and talked, we've had some new faces here and there, but I think you guys got a rock solid team now. And tell me a little bit more about them. And was it easy to find them, hard to find them? How did you go about getting people to work for you?
Yeah, I would say that's probably number 2.
Yeah.
Or tied with 1. The management of employees and the finding good quality employees, because you want a team around you that's going to treat your customers the way you would when you're not there. And so I have gone through, and had some turnover, but right now, actually, we do property and casualty insurance at the agency as well. And I had a turnover there that was very difficult. And I was venting to my best friend about it, as girls do. Yeah. And she said, let me do it. And I said, what? And she said, let me do it. And, she's my son's godmother. We're her daughter's godparents. Yeah. We're more than just friends. Yeah. So we had family meetings about it. The kids were involved and finally came to the decision that we'll give it a try. Right. And it's not been easy. As working with family, it's never easy. But, I trust her with everything. And so it's been a good relationship there. And she handles the PNC side. And then I have another health agent that's there part-time that she came on as a temp years ago. And she's just a really great person to have on your team. And then Sarah is our office manager. She's been with us for about 1.5 years now. Yeah. And she's been an amazing addition to our team. She keeps us all on track. Good. So she's great.
She is great. I know I talked to your whole team. They're all awesome. And the Samantha, right? It's your friend, like your sister, basically. Right. Were you guys were like a little nervous, kind of, because it is like I said, working with family. Was like this can't come in between our relationship. Business is business, but family's family.
We have a strict agreement that we're going to lay everything on the table. We're not going to hold anything in, because if it festers, it's no good. Right. If anything happens at work or happens to the work relationship, the personal relationship is still going to be what it is. Right.
That's awesome. Yeah. Have you found that it's been pretty easy to, obviously you've had probably some challenges in there, but for the most part been pretty successful with that?
So I think we're doing okay. Yeah. We talk about work when we're at home more than we probably should. That's just that disconnect issue.
Exactly.
But it's great to have someone, by your side that you can 100% rely on.
Now, what is kind of the next steps for your business, and do you have a bigger vision to say, okay, we want to expand? Are we happy with what we're doing? It's something that again I ask these questions partly because, or majority, I want to know. I'm learning from you as we're talking, and other business owners, because it's oftentimes in my head, well, how do we continue doing what we're doing and spreading our word across the state or the country for that matter? So have you thought about that in terms of expansion or adding on more staff? Have you given that much thought?
Yeah, that's a rather constant thought.
Yeah.
And it's a matter of timing. Like, you don't want to jump the gun on it. You don't want to hire someone too soon, but you don't want to wait too long either and get overwhelmed. So I do know I need to hire someone to help with the Medicare side as it's grown so much. I have the issue of letting go. I want to be involved in every case.
Sure.
I want to touch every case. So that's difficult for me too.
Yeah.
The
delegation.
The letting go, letting go of the control, I guess.
Sure. Well, it's your name on the wall too.
It is.
And that goes, that's important. I think that is hard to do, to delegate or let go and not be involved. But, if you've done great hiring people so far, so I think that would continue. So, any new locations or just going to kind of take it one step at a time?
I'm in the process of looking for a property to purchase. We've rented so far, and I really like the idea of laying down solid roots and owning the place. So we've entered into that process just recently.
Good.
And so that's next.
Yeah.
That's next.
Do you know location-wise, or is that secret?
Property right now is tough.
Oh, it's crazy.
So I want to stay around Canal Fulton, because that's the community that's been, that I've been integral.
Sure.
They've been integral to me, and I've been very much involved with them. And that's, even though I didn't grow up there, I don't live there, that's my business home. So I really don't want to stray away from there too much. But I live in Jackson Township, so I, somewhere between the two is kind of my mind.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Is it something where, do you ever feel like you can be in a position down the road to sell your second child, your second spouse, second family? That's a tough thing to think about, right? You bought it from someone. Is there going to be a point in time where you become the seller, or is it something that Luca takes over, or, who knows? Right.
Who knows? He has absolutely no interest at this point. I mean, his dad owns a distillery. So if he's going to choose
rightfully
one,
so.
He's probably going to choose that one. But, I think eventually if I found the right buyer, I mean, the great thing, or the perfect thing would be is if I found someone like myself that I could raise throughout the business, and they could get to know the customers over the years, and I could hand it down.
So your mentor taught you that, obviously he groomed you, whether you knew it or not, or he knew it at that time that you were going to be the potential owner and buyer of the business. So that would be an ideal candidate and fit.
Exactly.
Do you have any idea when that time is? Not tomorrow, hopefully.
Oh gosh, no. I have a lot of years.
Yeah, good.
A lot of years. The nice part about our businesses is if we really wanted to, I could semi-retire and still run it. So that's in the back of my mind too. I don't know if I ever see myself fully retiring.
Right. Just continue to plug away.
Continue to plug away. I might get to a point. You never know, but.
And this is something that our proverbial handbook that we don't have would come into handy right now, right? That tell us how to do this, when to hire someone, when to move to a new location, but you just kind of figure it out, right?
You do.
So anything else you'd want to add, Erin, about the, owning a business, running a business, any message you'd want to give to, 20-year-old Erin, or a young woman out there that wants to start her own business, or man that wants to start his own business? Anything that you want to give them, or any advice you'd want to give to that young individual?
I would just tell them to go for it.
Yeah.
I always tell my son that if you don't try, you fail.
Sure.
You may fail if you try, but you won't know until you do it.
Yeah.
So, but if you don't do it, you're 100% going to fail.
Yeah.
So if your heart's leading you that way, and give it a shot.
Yeah. And how many times have you failed? Probably too many to count. How many times have I failed?
All the time.
You constantly continue to do that. No one likes to fail, but if you don't leave yourself an opportunity or to be vulnerable, put yourself in that position, you've already failed.
Exactly.
Right? So awesome. Well, I truly appreciate you coming out and doing this, and getting out of your comfort zone here to hop on the podcast. It means a lot to us, and really spending some time with you to talk about the business. So I've learned a lot more about your business and where your mind is. So you've been helpful to me, and I'm sure to also people listening. So thank you, Erin.
Great. Thank you. I appreciate it.
And so if you guys want to contact us or get a hold of our office, you can reach out to us here in the office at 330-473 888-888-1060, or you can look us up on the website. Our website is www.baschrock-fg.com. And Erin, really quickly, if you don't mind, give your business information and contact information.
Yeah, sure. Carbone Insurance, and the phone number is 330-854-9300. And our website is carbone-insurance.com.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Erin. And thank you all for listening into this podcast. Thanks.